of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Deb, if you could establish quorum, please.
Is everyone logged into board docs?
I hope so.
Mr. Wells, are you logged in?
I'll vote. You'll take my vote verbally.
Okay.
Don't think it.
All right. Let's go.
All right, can I get a motion to set the agenda?
I make a motion to set the agenda.
Madam President, I would like to withdraw item B, the purchase over $5,000 Hypertech Pleasant View ViewSonic view boards for $59,1672. I'll do a little more checking into that and I'll get back with you. We have a meeting coming up soon. We can put it on if we need to.
Did somebody second that? I did. Okay.
Did we have a second? I didn't hear it.
Sherry Ray.
Oh, thank you.
Did not hear that.
Yes.
All right, moving on to action items. Oh, sorry. That's right.
Online voting is now available. Mr. Wells.
Please put
Aye.
it back in. Okay. It's telling me that it kicked me out, but I'm still showing I'm logged in, so mine's an I.
Thank you. Carter, are you able to vote?
It hasn't came up on mine, but yes.
Mr. Pritchett?
I switched to Google Phone.
You did everything we told you to do.
I did.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, moving on to action items. Action item A. Get a motion to approve the MOU with local preschools for the Universal Preschool Colorado, UPK.
Madam President, I recommend that we approve the MOU with the local preschools for Universal Preschool Colorado, UPK.
I make a motion that we accept the MOU with the local preschool for UPK.
I second.
Online voting is now available.
Discussion
Oh.
first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I find it here again. Under that general provision, the fourth paragraph. It talks about the district may replace with another eligible student any attendance slot previously filled by a student no longer attending the preschool. Does that mean that there would be a student taken like from a contract school and put into another school, or, I mean,
Andrea?
So the Beach Street has 90 spots. They have 64-year-old spots and 33-year-old spots. The all 3-year-olds, because of BPK, have to go through the district. So we would be contracting with other sites. Once our 30-year full, if we had a waiting list, or if those families were choosing to go to with other centers. So we would keep our center full at all times. So if we had a child move away and we had a spot open, we would fill our spots before we gave them to the other contract.
but would you be taking that student from one of them to come over? Okay.
No.
We're not gonna displace
If they're
students.
already there, they would stay there. It would just be new students that apply.
I want to make sure we're not
Yeah.
pulling kids out like that. Okay.
Yes.
Any other concerns, questions, comments?
Okay, online voting is available. Mr. Wells, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hart's didn't show up either.
How do you vote, Ms. Hart?
How do you vote?
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. All right, moving on to presentations. We have Andy with CDE, Presentation of School Performance Scores, Andy Swanson, CDE School and District Transformation Manager.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Burris, we appreciate the opportunity to be here and share school performance frameworks with you. We'll get the slide deck up here in a second, but always good to see you. I think it's the third time I've had the opportunity to talk with you publicly like this. So we want the opportunity, knowing I was going to be down here to support schools and school leaders with their improvement plans, and some other work done with the district about what improvement strategies will look like this year, grant opportunities, all of that. Thought it was a great time to be able to come before you and be able to talk about SPFs that literally were released 3.5 hours ago. So we're hot off the presses on this to be able to discuss what's going on here. And that's a lot of importance for you all. We'll get this going here in a second. So what I wanted to talk about during this time is just a brief overview of a very, very big high level 30,000 foot, our accountability system. What do we mean with school performance frameworks for the good of everybody? It's not the world everyone lives in on a day-to-day basis. Our school and district transformation, school and district performance frameworks, what CDE supports are available, and then want to provide opportunities and time for you all to ask any questions you might have at that point. There we go. Okay, last year we had a transition back to state accountability, if you remember. So one of the many things that were disrupted during COVID was our accountability processes, right? So we had no state testing in 2020. We had skip year testing in 2021, which meant students in every other school year took the ELA or math assessment. So for example, 4th, 6th, and 8th graders took CMAS math. 3rd, 5th, and 7th graders took CMAS ELA. And so that caused a disruption in the amount of data that we could gather over the course of those time periods. Last year in 2022, we had enough data that we felt we could present school performance frameworks, but not enough data that we felt it was fair for accountability for that level of purpose of being able to say schools and districts that might be on those lowest tiers of performance according to those frameworks. It wasn't fair to say they were actually low performing and accurate due to those frameworks. And so we did not move anyone forward in the accountability clock. It was more for informational purposes, for grant funding and those things. This year, 2023, now that we no longer have to deal with growth from skip year testing, we have more of a valid and full data set across the state, probably for the first time since 2019. And so the accountability system kind of accounts for that. In accountability, it is as if 2019 and 2023 are back-to-back years. So wild concept for all of us who went through the 3 years in the middle of that. Myself, I went through 2 of those years as a high school assistant principal, so felt them very deeply within that. But as far as accountability goes, you can see 2019 and 2023 essentially as back-to-back years within that. We had expanded eligibility, or the state had expanded eligibility for improvement for funding for schools that had improvement plan types. That was in 2022. I did go back and look at this. That is no longer going to be the case for 2023. We can talk about eligibility for grants here in a minute once we go through these different plan types. But that was a 1-year opportunity in order to expand some of that requirements. I don't want to spend a ton of time. I do want to give a brief overview, and I know that's very small. When we're going to talk about school performance frameworks and district performance frameworks, what are we talking about? How are these calculated? Why? In what ways do these matter? So every school, every public school and public charter school within the state of Colorado gets a school performance framework. Every school district gets a district performance framework that effectively is a rating or a plan type of how does that school or district do in the areas of academic achievement and academic growth for elementary and middle schools. And then for high schools in the district overall, it's academic achievement, academic growth, and post-secondary workforce readiness. That academic achievement and growth is solely based on the growth and achievement of students on CMAS, PSAT, and SAT. PWR, or post-secondary workforce readiness, also takes into account aspects of dropout rates, graduation rate, and student matriculation rate of where they go after they graduate high school. That's all calculated. As you can see, elementary and middle schools, it's 60% growth. So the growth that students make on CMAS from year to year versus as compared to their academic peers across the state. 40% is on the overall academic achievement level for students at that school. For a high school in a district, it's 40% growth, 30% on academic achievement, and 30% on post-secondary workforce readiness. All of that mathematically gets calculated into the ratings you can see there on the right. For schools, they're rated from a performance plan type, in green to improvement, priority improvement, and turnaround plan type are the four main categories of ratings. Schools that score a priority improvement or turnaround are considered on the accountability clock for the state as in need of improvement and also eligible for grant supports and other supports available. There are also statutory requirements for what they need to do for planning, ways they need to engage the community, and things of that nature. But when we consider being on the accountability clock, it's schools and districts that are in that priority improvement or turnaround plan type. You will also see there's two gray boxes up there: insufficient state data for small testing populations and insufficient state data for low participation. Those are sites that either due to lack of testing participation or due to the fact that they don't have enough students for us to be able to calculate results. We don't feel like there's a way to accurately provide results for those schools. In some instances, we can use 3-year frameworks in order to make up that gap. But if you've seen insufficient state data, it's for one of those two reasons. District accreditation ratings are exactly the same, except there is an opportunity for districts to reach the blue, which is accredited with distinction. But it's the similar calculations, and also that the priority improvement or turnaround plans are the ones that would be considered on the accountability clock. When it comes to when the state intervention happens, when a school or district gets to their 5th year on the accountability clock or 5th consecutive year of priority improvement or turnaround, that is when there's a requirement to go in front of the state board for state intervention with a hearing and for some more drastic improvement actions that happen to improve outcomes for students. The whole goal being, how do we support schools and districts to best improve academic achievement and academic growth for their students? As you can see in 2023, you can see the percentage of schools that landed in each of these categories. So a little over half of the state has a performance plan type, about 19% improvement plan, 9% are priority improvement, and 2% are in turnaround. 8% had the insufficient state data, and I'll make a note that at the very bottom there, 5% of our alternative education campuses, which are typically our campuses for students who aren't being served by traditional high schools, sometimes traditional middle schools. An example that you all in a district would be Southwest Open School would be an example of an alternative education campus. Those school performance frameworks have not been released yet. They are still calculating those. Probably next week or the week after, we'll know those results. So that's why those are frameworks pending. The insufficient state data is worth noting because that's 8% of schools. Last year, that was 17% of schools due to the lack of data that we had last year. It's one of the reasons why we didn't. Nobody was moved forward to accountability clock. So that number was cut in half. So we have a lot better data for that this year. Okay, so now I'm going to walk through different schools in the district and what those plan types are. You can see right there, 2019, 2022, we'll start with the district-run charter schools. Their 2019 results, there on the left for Battle Rock, Children's Kiva, Southwest Open School, and then the Pleasant View Charter School, of course, in 2019 was a district-run school. Had mostly insufficient state data due to small tested populations during 2022, with the exception of Southwest Open School or SWO's being improvement. Year 2 on watch. I just want to pause for a second to say there's a lot of terminology in here. One of them being the on watch right there. In order for a school or a district to be considered off of the accountability clock, it needs 2 years of improvement or performance plan type rating. If you see on watch, that means it's their first year in which they got that improvement rating. A second year would mean they would be off the accountability clock. So SWOs were to get in 2023 an improvement plan type, that would mean they would be completely off that. Battle Rock Charter School for 2023 was able to get to improvement with 44.5% of the points. One thing of note for that, it means Battle Rock, that's their second year of performance or improvement. If you remember that 2019 and 2023 are consecutive when it comes to accountability, they now are no longer on performance watch, which is great news for them. Children's Kiva Montessori also got to improvement. This is their first year, so that will put them on watch. And they will need one more performance or improvement rating to complete the exit. As I said before, ABC frameworks have not been released, so that means Southwest Open School does not yet have their results. We'll see what those are in a week or two. And then Pleasant View, insufficient state data due to small testing size in this case. So they are not going to receive a rating this year from the state. Again, Southwest Open School, if they get performance or improvement, they will exit watch. The secondary schools within the district, Montezuma-Cortez Middle School was improvement year 2 on watch in 2019. Did drop the turnaround last year in 2022, and were able to improve back to improvement, meaning they have no longer. I think a big congratulations to the Drew and the team. I know they've been working very, very hard. I know we've had some conversations about all the work that they've been doing and improvement efforts that they've been putting forward in the middle school. I think they should be very proud of those efforts. And 1 point from performance from Jim. So they are close to that.
They were almost,
Oh,
Yes.
Wow.
So another book like that, and hopefully we'll see that to be green next year.
Oh, you'll
That's
see it.
exciting.
Green's good.
The high school was improvement with 50.8% of the points in 2019. Was improvement, sorry, that should be yellow, with 44.9% of the points in 2022. And unfortunately dipped down to priority improvement year 1. I want to note that if you look at those numbers and percentages, you'll notice that that percentage of points is actually higher in 2023 than it was in 2022. They were actually lowered from improvement down to priority improvement this year, unfortunately, due to lack of student participation in testing. So if there's state board rule or statute, I can't remember which one exactly, states that if 2 or more assessments that account for a school's school performance framework are less than 95% of students taking those assessments, does not include parent opt-outs, so parent opt-outs are not included in that 95% tally, then the school is lower plan type due to lack of participation. So that puts the high school in year 1. I will make a note that when you are your first year on the accountability clock, if the next year you get to improvement or performance, that takes you off the accountability clock altogether. You don't want to do 2 years at that point. So if you're 1 year on, 1 year off, you do get off the accountability clock for that. But they are considered a priority improvement plan type at this point. That does open them up to more supports and grant funding and opportunities like that. Okay, elementary schools. We have for Kemper, Luis Ariola, and Mesa. Kemper was priority improvement year 1 and priority improvement year 1 in both 2019 and 2022, since they did not move forward in that scenario, and with about a very similar percentage of the points. Made a large another big congratulations to Katie and team for the work that they've been doing. That is, if you're paying attention, that's a 2 plan type leap all the way up to the top plan type that we have here in the state. So because they were just year 1 with priority improvement and they got the performance, they are now no longer on performance watch. So big celebration for them.
Oh,
Absolutely.
good job, Katie.
Moving on to Luis Ariola, the performance plan type with 59.2% of the points in 2019, did not have enough state data to get a rating in 2022. And that's not only congratulations to Angie and team on that one, with a very high percentage of points as far as that goes. Mesa Elementary was improvement year 5 on watch, which is a mouthful in 2019, 46.3% of the points. Had a rough performance framework last year. Robert and I had a lot of conversations about that. And I'll just make a note. I get the opportunity to see a lot of work across the state, a lot of work in our schools that are in turnaround or priority improvement. You all had to make some tough choices very late in the game last year with the closing of Manaw, and a lot of kids coming from Manaw over to Mesa, which caused a lot of stress on that system at the beginning of last year. I know that Robert and Crystal were working very hard to integrate to one community, a school that was bursting at the seams, had a very tough start. A lot of stress, probably a lot of sleepless nights when it came to that. This was also a year that, as an improvement plan type, but on watch year 5, I remember sitting here about this time last year telling you that a priority improvement or turnaround plan type puts Mesa before the state board for an accountability hearing. A performance and improvement plan type exits them off the clock completely. A well-earned.
Well-earned.
For Robert Crystal. Getting to improvement and well into improvement with 47.5% of the points. A difficult year, and I think a lot to be celebrated for that to be able to get to that point with everything that they went through. And lastly, it leads us to the district overall. Priority improvement year 2 in 2019 with 43.3% of the points. Priority improvement again in 2022 with 39.2% of the points. And then up to improvement with 46.8% of the points as a district, giving you your first year on performance watch, which probably isn't a surprise when you look at the schools. You go, well, the schools went up, the district's probably going to go up, but a big celebration there for you all. This is since 2010 when these performance frameworks went into place. This is only the second time that Montezuma-Cortez School District has achieved an improvement or higher accreditation rating in the state. So congratulations to you all. So a lot of good news on some foundations being laid, some steps that have been taken. I know it was a very difficult year for everyone across the state, and I do sometimes back in Denver use you all as an example of a lot of the trends we see statewide. You all see in a more exacerbated or leading edge front with where you sit and the challenges that you are dealing with. And so I think today is a celebration to take a step back and go, there's some things that you're really putting in place that are working. And just a shout out especially to your school leaders, your school staff. I know how hard they're working just from the times I'm down here. I see leaders, I see teachers all the time. Clearly the caring and the work they're putting in is starting to really pay off. And then of course the district shepherding them in directions, and please would like focus on that. So congratulations on this first step with that. You won't be able to read this, but this is just the overview. You can just see the colors. You can see the shift from orange, a little more orange heavy of 4 schools that were priority improvement in, or 3 schools in the district in 2019. Now to the high school, lower due to participation rates, but a lot more yellow and green that I think we've seen across the district in a very long time with that. And then we'll wait to see SWOS's AEC framework when that comes out. Just to see it numerically, a lot of shift. You had some insufficient state data that went up into ratings in 2023. Giving you mostly performance and improvement schools at this point, with going from 2 in 2022 to 7 in 2023. And finally, our supports, so I'll go through very quickly. You have the opportunity still for some grant funding opportunities that have already been in discussion today with your district leadership. That's available through what we call our easy grant process, which we joke is not easy at all, actually. As Jim can tell you firsthand, and Dean can tell you, of course. But our Empowering Action to School Improvement, that is our more omnibus grant, where we have a lot of different pathways for every school district that is identified either state or federally. We will get our federal identifications here in the next couple of weeks. That will basically tell us who's eligible for some funding sources and some opportunities to continue the momentum that you are going on at this point. Those supports can range from diagnostic reviews. We did a diagnostic review of the district last spring. I spoke to actually many of you during that process. Cohort-based school level programs, district level improvement strategy supports, school board support. You all are part of the school board grant, which I think we'll kick that up and running this fall with Dan Jorgensen from CBE. And then you get a designated support lead, which is myself, improvement planning support, some prioritized technical assistance, accountability process support, and of course diagnostic reviews as necessary. Okay, that's a bit of a drink from the fire hose on accountability, but wanted to open up with, after it's definitely some good news, if you have questions or comments or concerns or things I can help with.
Overwhelmed.
Well, thank you for that amazing report. I think clearly that having the right people in place and having the right everybody come together as teams and work together and make the appropriate changes, even though they were hard for some people or not, that clearly we are seeing the efforts of everybody day in and day out, the blood, sweat and tears, the good times, bad times. Bringing some amazing news to us tonight. That's absolutely incredible. Thank you, everybody.
I just want to say our principals are so awesome. This would not have happened. I'm gonna cry.
I know.
This would not have happened without them working so hard. And thank you, principals. So appreciate it.
I've got an awesome team of principals, awesome team at central office. You guys worked hard and you guys did what I asked when you didn't quite understand it even or know where we were going. And this is where we were going. You guys are awesome. You've carried the ball. You've made it. And your teachers. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. I want to take it one step further because without our superintendent guiding our principals and helping them and reinforcing them and cheering them on, we would not be here. So. Yes, I know. We're all gonna pray.
I just gotta say, Tom, I think this is a career highlight for you.
Absolutely.
Your entire, everything you've ever done, this is the big one.
It is.
And you know what? I would even say for all the principals too. I mean, this is something that looks really good on your resume.
Yes. We're not going anywhere.
Superintendent one day, I don't know.
I don't know if I may be looking at this wrong, but I think that what they've accomplished this year is close to impossible. So I'm just so impressed.
How often have you seen a district in our state move in the direction they did? How I mean, is it far and few between? How many? I mean, are we some of the elite now?
I think it's a really good step and a lot don't make this step. It does happen. And when you start putting the systems and structure in place, I know we've had many conversations over the last year and a half about what are those and what does that look like? You start to see that flywheel go. I will say there are districts that we've had that do what we would say these are the right things. They just can't get the momentum going. So it is a big step. It doesn't happen for everyone, but it does happen. And I think there's another big leap to come and a lot more work to do, but it's a big celebration. And so, yeah, you're on the path.
Perfect. Yeah, that is huge.
And don't give up. We still have more to do.
Next year's a new year and we have pieces, you know, starting the year off with AJ Crable, starting the year off with the new focus on being in the classroom, the things that we need to do. This, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, so we're working at it. Principals are out there. I went to the middle school to see Drew, and where was he? In the classroom.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can I interject and just say?
Yes,
Sure.
yes, absolutely.
Celebrating our teachers.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
And they need to be recognized as much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It takes everybody doing their part and we see what happens when the team
We're a team again.
Yeah.
feels good, feels excellent.
I also know how hard Jim's been working on some things coming up this next school year that I really believe in, that pacing guide. I think these numbers are gonna even shoot up even more. That pacing guide is, there's some teachers at the school I work at, one grade level particularly, surpassed the state big time. The other grade levels did okay, but there was one specific, and the superintendent asked those teachers, what was the difference maker? And they said, followed that pacing guide. And I think it's gonna make a huge difference. So thank you for all your hard work to Jim as well.
Thank you, Jim.
Please pass this on to the staff. Wow. Thank you.
Is all of this going to be posted on our website?
Yep.
For everybody to, yeah,
It's all on PDEs right now, but
okay.
maybe we post your presentation.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, we can hook it to board docs, so it'll be a part of this meeting agenda.
Board, thank you guys. You know, when I came in, you guys told me we were kind of afloat and barely. And you've always supported me well. Thank you. And it's paid off. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for everything you brought into the district that has been lacking, I would say. And on all for the better. Yeah, absolutely. I give you the reins to do what you do best and
And you answered my phone on weekends. That
I
was
know.
always nice.
Thank you for letting me hire Eddie and Lisa
oh
and
gosh,
getting those things lined out. We know how to do
We're
this.
so
We've done this before. And we
thankful,
appreciate your
grateful for the
support.
people you put in place. Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you want to open up to the community? If they
And
want to say anything?
Cynthia and Danielle are working hard on their projects and thank you for your work. You know, everybody here works really hard. And it's not like we're spinning our wheels. We're getting things done.
Mhm.
But again, it's having a good team.
I like the cohesiveness where you can walk into a building and everybody's working together.
That's true.
good. The community want to say anything?
Do you want to open it up to
up?
Sure.
we can open it up to anybody else out in the, who would like to say anything? Any of our principals or administrators?
I just want to thank my staff. Just like you said, you put a lot on them. You're working hard. Of course, you see them, they're on the weekends and on Fridays, when they're supposed to be there, and they're there 24/7. So it's-
And they
Yeah.
still don't have their trailers for their classrooms.
We're working on it.
I drive by every day,
Well.
measure it.
I think I'd like to just reiterate that and all staff down the custodial level, I mean, we
Absolutely.
are a family in my building, we're small. And everybody steps in when they need to without even being asked. It's almost like they can read each other's minds, so it's scary at times, but good.
Mhm.
But yeah, thank you, everybody.
Excited to go share the news with my staff tomorrow. We have a huddle scheduled for 7:40 and it's all their hard work and their kids. We want to celebrate our kids because they are putting in the hard work as well.
Right.
So it's just it'll be exciting to share news with everybody tomorrow.
It's exciting to work for you guys. It
And
really
let's not
is.
forget the parents, because they're sending their kids to school there. And most of the time. But
We're working on
came
that.
to school for these tests, they were well rested. We fed them breakfast, but parents made sure they were here. Let's congratulate the parents too.
Andy, are we able to share the participation numbers for the high school?
Yeah, we can look at what that is.
They're-
Don't know.
Are they on the framework?
They wouldn't be on the framework, but we have that data.
Okay.
We can look at that and get.
Give it to
Good,
you.
yeah. I'm sure Jennifer would like that information.
Yeah, we'll be working with plans
Mhm.
this year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Definitely a big celebration.
Yes.
Mr. Casper,
Anybody else want?
we've been friends a long time. This is a good day.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, board. You hired the right man. And thank you, Tom. You made some tough decisions along the way. I really want to thank teachers. I want to thank teachers so very, very much. There's nothing more devastating than putting it all into boys and girls and then not getting the results that you hope for. And
what a powerful meeting this is. I just, yay, Cortez. It is so fun. It is so fun to win together. And, I don't know how many moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas we have here, but, they all have a role. And I'm so thankful. So, every part of this district has a reason for shout for joy. So I'm glad for everyone.
Thanks, Drew.
We'll allow anybody else that wants to speak if they would like to.
Maybe 3.9%.
Okay.
Can you say that again real loud?
High school participation rate was 93.9%. Red Oak is 95%.
Yeah. Okay. So it was good. Okay, close. Okay.
So if they met that 95, what would that mean on the?
That would have been an improvement.
Okay. Big difference.
So, and so they would have jumped up three levels, two.
So they were, I believe, improvement before.
Okay,
They would have stayed.
okay, okay.
Anybody else?
I just love how everybody roots each other on. It's a tongue twister. Because my district, not like that. The different schools are always competing. I think it's terrible. But they're like, oh, look at this school. Oh, look at this school. This district just works so hard together. It's not a competition. We're working up for the same goal.
I'll tell that to these guys.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general, I like the camaraderie, working for the same goal. So kudos to you guys. Keep it up. Those numbers can go higher, I know that for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Next year.
Never be satisfied is the thing. Until you get to 100%, just keep that 100%.
We have a huge win and we'll build on it.
Yeah.
So I just gotta say, I see quite a few people running in the audience here. And I know a lot of people come in for different reasons. I would say this is why we're really here.
Yep.
As a board member, I mean, this is what it's all about.
We're here for students.
Yep.
Here for the students. So
Definitely.
Anybody else? This is gonna be really, probably one of the shortest meetings we've had with the biggest news I think we've ever had. So, I will adjourn this meeting at 6:39.
Do me a favor, everybody shake hands with our principals. They deserve it.
Oh, God.